totally free. Okay, that's good point, Cindy. Thank you. And then we're going to be doing a bit of a demo on how I scale this up with my team. We can go into some Q&A. And lastly, I would like to collect some feedback based on tonight's event and the last event, which were both a workshop, just to get your feedback on what you like, what you don't like, and what we should continue doing or not as a community. So skills. So when we hear the word skills, we usually think of buzzwords that we add to our resumes. You know, the list that we put in there that we gather from other people's resumes, and even from job posts that of jobs that we would love to have. And also from behaviors that we think are expected from adults, right? Such as, oh, I'm detail oriented, I work well under pressure, multitasking, etc. But I want you to think about skills in a different way, and at least for tonight. I want you to think about them as how you have impact every day. I want you to think about skills in the way that you bring your identity to work. Think about all the things that you bring every day that you show up. The way you show up to work, the way you show up at home with your kids, the way you show up with your friends, and even how you show up here tonight with this community. I want you to think about your journey, because your skills come out from the journeys that you go through and the stories that come out of those. Your skills are stories, and those are the questions that you get asked during interviews, as well as the people that you have crossed paths with and learned something from or taught something to. And ultimately, this leads to authenticity. When you come to a meeting, when you come to an interview, when you present your portfolio, what people are looking for is authenticity. And these are all the things that we should see when we open a portfolio. We should be able to see a real person with a real story and a real journey. And I wanted to share two of my favorite quotes that kind of touch upon the point that I'm trying to make. And as it happens, they're both from Brené Brown. And they say, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. And that connects with what we know matters, but who we are matters more. And this is something that we face, especially starting out or looking for a job, coming out of a boot camp or coming out of college or transitioning from one role to another. We go and quickly try to plug in skills and abilities to paint a picture of ourselves on paper. And if they're true, perfect, right? But just remember that skills carry stories with them, and we should honor those stories because those stories are unique to us. And all those stories have impact on us and whoever comes in contact with us. I also wanted to talk about the skills that go beyond design. So I know the name of this meeting is design skills, but I wanted to make a point that no matter the goal of your company, the nature of the product you're working on, whether you're solving the right problems or how you solve them, or whether you stand behind those problems and the solutions, you're going to need way more than design skills to do that. Understanding problems and the users requires more than design skills. Collaborating with your cross-functional teams requires more than design skills. And moving from one position to the next and reaching a leadership position is going to require more than design skills. In fact, I have talked to many designers in leadership positions, and none of them, absolutely none of them, were experts in every single design skill level in any matrix that I have seen. So what that means is that once they reach a level where they're competent in these skills, they go ahead and start developing their soft skills. And honestly, there's nothing soft about the skills that they go on to develop, because They work on the skills that actually give you power, they give them influence, and they give them eminence, which is, I'm sure you guys have heard of the saying that brand or eminence are the things that people talk about you when you're not in the room. And those are the things that you need to develop. So as designers, we need to upskill in the language of our peers, the language of business, the language of product, the language of development, sales, strategy, etc. And anything that you come in contact as a cross-functional team member. Now, why am I telling you all this? Honestly, because I wish somebody had told me about this. For years, all I did was work on design skills. How to be better at Figma, how to be better at XD, how to be better at all these different tools, and not really seeing any results, right? Just getting more responsibilities because I knew how to use more things, right? But if you want to elevate your career and move it forward faster and be that career be more meaningful, you have to develop other skills other than design. And now that we have that in mind, I want you to keep that mindset as we move on to the next area, which is we're going to jump on Mural and we're going to build your own framework. And I don't want you to try to paint a picture of who you are supposed to be as a designer or a researcher or a writer. None of that matters. I want you to paint a picture of who you really are and later on how you want that career to go. It's not only about checking boxes or doing more interviews or analyzing more surveys. It's about building stories that you can talk about during interviews and in your portfolio, building cross-functional relationships, and the impact that you have every single day in every possible way. Okay, so if you have any questions about anything we talked so far, we're going to have a Q&A section at the end. So, but feel free to add them to the chat. Now, I'm going to have all of you add your emails to the chat so that I can include you in the mural and you can start coming in there. So let me open that chat. Okay, this is the mural and I'm going to be adding each one of you there. Okay, I don't see any emails yet, so you can go ahead and add them so that you have access. And I'm talking about the Zoom chat, not the Slack chat. Perfect. Okay. I'll probably move the window over so not everybody can see your emails. I just thought of that. Okay. I'm glad I allocated 5 minutes to doing this. So there's enough time to work on this. Okay. All right. So I sent an invite. Let me know if you did not receive one. Should be rather quickly. And I'll keep this here. Has anyone received any emails yet?
I got it and was able to get in.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I see Olivia was at it, Rob was at it. Okay, I'll give you guys another minute so that we can all work together through this. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's
Roland.
going on. I
Nick.
didn't get it yet.
I'm gonna try again for you, Roland. What was your question?
I didn't
Oh.
get it yet.
Okay, let me try again.
I was trying to see if I misspelled something, but no.
Yeah. Oh yes, I when I copied and pasted, I missed the M. So I got you now.
I'm not seeing anything on my end either.
Okay, Eric. Okay, let me try that. Okay. I resent that one. What about Sherry? Did you receive it? I don't see Sherry, so
Sorry, did you send it?
Dennis, let me check. I'm gonna resend it to you just in case.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't see any
Mhm.
in my inbox.
Okay, I resent it to you as well.
There it is. Join your.
Excellent. Okay, Sherry, you have a question? I see your hand up. Or maybe you're just waving. So this is a reschedule from Cindy and UX and ATX. Is that your question, Sherry? Put a question in the chat for me. Yeah, okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. I think we got everyone. Yeah. And let me see if we have Lena. Did you get access? Or Lena? I don't see your email here. Well, let me know if you are ready to put your email there and I can add you anytime, okay? All right, so we're gonna walk through this. I'm gonna share my screen. I think I'm doing that already. Are you able to see the mural on my screen? Or did you stop sharing?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So I'm gonna use the outline to kind of guide you through the mural so you understand all the pieces that go into this. So first, I'm sure you guys have heard of the T-shaped skill assessment or the M shape or the X shape. This is where it all stems from. Assuming that T is the initial shape of where all of these other different ways in which you can guide your career stem from. And it became popular during the time that IDEO CEO Tim Brown wanted to create a way to assess creative professionals in both their core skills and the way that they collaborated with other disciplines. What are the T-shaped skills? So they're the ones that go into both the depth of your knowledge and the cross-discipline of your collaborations with others. So the wing skills are the ones that I was calling power skills, because that's the way in which you collaborate with everyone else and you're able to grow in your career and grow in eminence, and not just on your design skills, which are your core skills. You can create your tea in any way that you want, depending on what experience you have, right? So in this case, if you have someone who is like this with 3 core skills, that means that person maybe changed careers 3 times or 2 times. This one, maybe there's 1 career change, or this person has been able to, learn a little bit more about different areas before going into a core role. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to maintain a perfect tea as you develop your career. As I mentioned, you can have any variation of this. The only caveat is that you should have different categories in which to clump your skills. So here I'm going to show an example. This is from a T-shaped researcher, for example. Each letter on top represents an area or category for all the skills, so that you're able to clump things in a place that allows you to grow in that specific area, and you know what else you would like to grow in. So for example, we have project management, frameworks, business. This is the core skill in research. Then we have design, leadership, graphic design, and outside of work, because those skills that you learn there also help you develop other skills that can contribute as well to the team. Then you can also add labels. So for example, here, this is something that this person wants to do more of. And that's something to keep in mind when you're having conversations with your managers. You want to make sure that you focus on things that you are interested in and you want to continue doing and growing in. And also, we have areas that you want to grow in and develop next. So this person, for example, wants to grow a little bit more on project management by learning how to roadmap, and in business by learning product messaging, and design by learning more about design systems. And this is what we're going to try to do today. First, we're going to take a stab at creating your core skills, then your wing skills, then focusing on the things that you want to do more of, or maybe the things that you don't want to do more of, so that you can avoid working on that. And then adding things that we have identified is the path where we want to take our careers, and go ahead and develop more in those areas. Here's an example of the areas that you can work on. This is not but a rule that you should follow these areas. These are just suggestions. So you could talk about frameworks, you could talk about business acumen, industries, consulting, mentorship, and that could include coaching, sponsorship, and for many people, even counseling, depending on what career path you have. I could give you the example, and now here at the bottom, I've also created a list of examples of skills that you can use and in those specific areas. So if you have, I put design, creative, and research. These are a bunch of skills that you can look into, and if it's something that you have worked on or that you want to develop, you can add it in the wants to have, right? If that's the direction that you want to take your career. If this is especially useful if you're planning to specialize in any discipline in UX, whether it's writing, then you might want to develop more communication skills. If you want to be a design leader, then you need to develop more leadership skills, right? And if you want to be what they call a unicorn and also do some development, maybe you want to learn some other languages in development. So it really depends where you want to take your career and what areas you should develop as you build your team. So how are we going to do this? Each person should claim a square or work area. You can write your name here at the top, or with a sticky by just double click and it adds a sticky. Just put your name or whatever username you want to add, just so that people know that that one's taken. And we're going to take about 10 minutes to put down your core skills. And that is whatever you're doing now, or whatever, if you're currently looking for a job, what are the things or the skills that you have now and that you are bringing to that job, right? And in the next section, after those 10 minutes are done, we're going to add our win skills, things that you have learned through your journey, through the people you have met, If you have been mentored or you have been mentored to someone else, those are wing skills. If you have worked with customers and you know about customer management or customer relationship management, those are wing skills as well. And then following that, we want to identify what are the things that we want to do more of, learn more of, or do less of. Maybe you're in a job that that is writing and you have come to hate writing. So, you know, this is a way to identify those things. And even though you're good at it, maybe you could transfer that skill into something else that you enjoy more. And lastly, we will identify skills that we will want to add to our team. And that way we can create better plans for your career development. If you have a manager, those are the conversations that you can have with your manager by creating this team. Do you guys have any questions so far before we start?
Do you have to have a lot of experience in these things or just have experience making them once or twice?
Are you talking about this, making the tea?
I mean, I'm talking about the things we choose to add as our skills.
Oh, no, anything. We just want to, if you don't have much experience and you want to create a plan for that experience, this is a perfect, you know, opportunity to do that. So if most of your stickies are, you know, with the dotted line saying, this is the things that I need to learn, then perfect, because then you're creating a plan. So ask yourself, what is it that I want to do? Where is it that I want to go in this journey? Right? What will give me the opportunity to use the skills, whatever they are, if they're many or little, and how they're going to get me there. Okay, so don't feel like you have to have a lot of experience or a lot of stickies. This is the first draft of your plan. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start a timer for
Hey,
10
Andrea,
minutes. Yeah.
could you please reshare the mural with Sherry?
Yeah, I didn't see her email.
I think it is in the chat. I will send it to you again.
Okay. Oh,
There you
I'll
go.
try that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll try to do that. There we go. No, she wasn't added before. Perfect. Okay, so I'll start that timer and feel free to ask questions as we go. We just have a timer so that we can make sure that we don't go over time and we have enough time to work on this. And yes, I will share this with you guys when we're done so you can continue working on it. I will try to play some music now that we're here. And also, if you're running out of space, just try to make your stickies a little smaller. That way you give a little more room. Trying to find a good category of music to play in the background that would kind of fit everyone's taste. Let's try this. Hmm. Hey Naomi, I know you just joined. Can you please put your email on the chat so I can add you to the mural that we're working on? Right. All right, so our 10 minutes are up for working on our course skills. For those who joined us a little bit late, we're working on the T-shape skills assessment. So what this means is that we're all working in one specific area, so you can claim one of these working squares, and we are following the instructions that are right here. We are starting out with your core skills, and those are the skills that are part of your role right now. So if you're a UX researcher or a writer or a designer, that will be what goes into your core skills right here in the middle. And your wing skills is what we're going to be working on next, which are the areas on this each of the sides. And if you go on the outline right here on top, you can navigate to the bottom where you have helpful examples of what that can look like. So you can see skills in design, in communication, frameworks, business, leadership, development, and product management. And these are just ideas. If you have other types of skills that are not here, feel free to do so. Each person's journey is different. And they also include the skills that were included in last month's event. So if you built that, if you were in that event, you can bring those skills into this framework and include them in your core or any wing skills that are related to your core role. Do you have any questions, Naomi? Or thumbs up if you're okay? Perfect. All right. So now we're gonna, I know some of you started working on the other skills, but I wanna make sure that we have, we dedicate enough time to each of the skills. So I'm gonna put another timer to work on the others. And if you miss some, go ahead and take the time to do that. So I'm gonna set another timer. Perhaps I'll put 5 minutes because a lot of you started working on it. So I'll just give you another 5 minutes to go through it and see if you get any other ideas, okay? So I'm gonna start the timer to work on that and to also give Naomi some time to catch up, okay? Right, here we go. And I'll put the timer and we'll talk about these when we're all done. I wanted to add a comment to a really good question that Roland asked. Does it matter which direction we add the wing skills, whether it's left or the right? And that really is up to you. Like you can actually create and customize your tee so that, let's say I have technical wing skills on my left and more or less technical wing skills to the right. So if you want to make it that way, you can also do that and grow in one spectrum of wing skills more than the other. So it's really customizable to which way you want to take your career for sure. As 5 minutes are up. So now I would like you guys to focus on identifying the things that you want to do more of, that you like doing and want to learn more and be more proficient at, and those that you don't. You know, perhaps you're really good at something doesn't mean you want to do it, right? So it's important that you identify those. So to do that, you go into a sticky and you go on label or tags, and you can create, there should be one already for names. Yeah, that was for the other activity that's coming up soon. But there is a tag called want to do more. And that is one that I'm going to create now. Don't want to do anymore. And feel free to create any other tags that you can identify and say, oh, I don't mind doing it here and there, right? Or I need to be better at this to continue doing it. Any tags that help you identify those skills that you need to maybe take classes on, or just go ahead and volunteer in different projects at your company to get more practice. So that's what we can do now. And we're going to go ahead and give you 5 more minutes just to do that. So can you think a little bit more on how you can identify those skills? It's 5 more minutes.
For the one with the dotted line, it doesn't let me add a tag to it.
Let me see. Oh, that's different. I wonder if it's a different type of shape. So yeah, for this type, so perhaps just use as something different instead of dotted line. Let's use this because it doesn't seem to let us do that. You're right. So just put a border to the stickies that are coming up next, and you're able to add a tag to those. It's a weird nuance. I wonder why that is. Oh. Oh, it's because this is a shape and this is a sticky, so they're different items. Thanks for pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
just get that feeling you remember what it's like to be 4 years old when the world is a magical place and everything's wondrous. He sort of invites you in to see that way again.
All right, perfect. So hope you guys were able to identify many of the things that give you joy doing. Oh, that looks awesome. Can't wait to see what you guys built here. Now, lastly, we have one last step in this tea, and it's to identify any other areas that you would like to add to your tea. So perhaps you want to be a designer that is really involved in product development, or because that's your previous career, and you feel like maybe I could grow in that area, right? Or like we have in this example, they're just things that your team doesn't have and it could use a lot of, and that will create an opportunity for you to talk to your manager and say, I really want to grow in this area and there is a need for this in the team. And or maybe they have this in another team and we don't have that. There are some teams that have what's called 3 in a box, and that's where designers, developers, and PMs work together to create roadmaps. And that requires all of them to speak the same language when it comes to creating that and contributing to that roadmap. So if you want to be part of that or create that within your teams, what would be the skills that you would need for that? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Your eminence and how you excel in your job is by not only taking the opportunity that's already there, but by also creating opportunities within your team. And at the same time, creating opportunities for yourself within that team. So if you have something in mind, or this example gave you an idea, go ahead and add that to your tea. And I'll just give you, let me see if anybody has worked on that already. So some of you have, but I'll give you just 5 more minutes for the ones who haven't. And we can work on that, and that'll be the last exercise for this. So I'll go ahead and give 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next section. Any questions so far? Everyone okay? Thumbs up? Yep. Excellent. Excellent. So those last 5 minutes are up. Let's take a look. Wow, you guys look awesome. Does anybody want to share what they've worked on? I see one that's very colorful over here. I'm really curious about this one. That's from Rob. Rob, would you mind telling us a little bit about what you created here?
Sure thing. I hope I followed everything correctly. I guess I was just going by like the typical T shape. So everything horizontally is things that I feel like I have mostly general knowledge or some level of expertise in, with the exception of the skills to learn area. So with the exception of this, I feel like I have, pretty much general knowledge of research, project management, visual design, graphic content creation. And then, of course, vertically is my depth of skills within those particular areas. With visual design, I feel being my highest level, followed by graphic. And I don't think I'm as good with research as I am with graphic design, but I guess I'm still trying to learn other things right here. So pretty much it's like these are my overall knowledge, base, and then this is just like the depths of each knowledge that I have.
Yeah, nice. I do want to point out, so for example, competitive analysis, you can put that under either UX design or research. So you can go over here, because it will be under that area that you want to develop more. And perhaps that will be your forte. So you can have really strong, wing skills. So it seems that research is your maybe third strongest suit after graphic design, right? And agile and lean, I think that could go under product owner or project management, right? So you could put that under here. Maybe it's one of the frameworks under a different kind of framework, because project management, you could do waterfall or whitewater or agile. So you could put it under here. Interaction design, yeah, we'll put that under UX design. So you can add the category here if you want. And Scrum, I think I will put it under that as well. Yeah, so that you're not spreading yourself too thin, you're building upon what you already have. So you have a little more compact and you're just growing more and building upon your project management. And in this case, I would write here, UX research. Does that make sense? Sort of. Did you identify anything that you like doing and want to keep on doing?
Pretty much anything under visual design. That's pretty much where I feel like my biggest expertise is. So a lot of those things, I enjoy doing those things, but I also am still trying to learn and build upon what I already know with a lot of these skills, especially with wireframing and prototyping and product design. So I'm really also trying to build upon those as well and hopefully become even better at it.
Excellent. Yeah, so you should definitely highlight that. And if, by any chance at some point you're looking for job descriptions and that is something that they highlight, then take that opportunity, right? Because it'll be an opportunity not only for work, but also an opportunity to grow, right? And also, if you volunteer in anything, then you can also ask for opportunities to do that. Okay. Does anybody else want to share a little bit of what they did or what they discovered while working on this? Maybe one of these folks? Maybe Betsy or Naomi?
Hi.
Just one last share.
Hello. Yeah, this is Betsy. This was really cool. I have never done something like this, but it was really interesting to see like what I consider, my strongest or what I've mainly been working on. Right now, my job is in communication, so that's the one in the center. And then my other experiences from marketing and design, something I've already established is that I kind of wanted to go away from social media, which is why I'm working in communications now. But I am working on my UX skills and then also some development. So yeah, it's going to be really cool to keep building this and seeing what else I want to identify as I want to do more of and I don't want to do more of.
Exactly. I love to see this. I love to see. I don't want to do more of these because a lot of people are like, they want to say it out loud. It's great to say it out loud to others and to yourself so that you push yourself to move away from that and actually go towards what you want to do. And yeah, it's going to be great seeing this grow and you are going to make it grow in the direction that you want it to grow. That's why I like this. It gave me the power to say, no, I want to grow in these areas. And that's the thing that I'm going to work on. So it gives you more focus. And I could definitely see this morph into UX writing or information development, which are, different positions that you can definitely go for.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for sharing, you guys. That was awesome. Now, the next section is going to be how to scale this up for teams. And I wanted to show you what I did with my team after with a group of around 50 people, including developers, project management, and designers and managers as well. We got together. We did have to split it into groups, so I'm just going to show you the first group. And that's supposed to, let me refresh. For some reason, it's not showing. Okay, yeah, we're in that section. So what I did after that was that I grabbed all of the individual team members' T's. We copied and pasted everything into one area so that we could build the team's T. And then we created and consolidated all the different categories that we created individually into all these different clusters so we could understand all the different categories and the breadth of knowledge that we had in our teams. And this is what one of the groups had. In this group particularly, we had a lot of developers. So that's where you see a lot of information on programming languages, operating system skills, and frameworks. But there were some who were also developers in information development. That's also part of UX and marketing, as well as project management. I just highlighted this because these are the areas that pertain to UX research and design within the team. And now you're going to notice that there's some ones in this. These were the areas and the skills that signify redundancy. Redundancy is really important in a team. You want to make sure that you have more than one person who's able to do that thing in the team. Because if you don't, that person doesn't come in, they quit, then you don't have anybody to cover that area, right? So that is one of the reasons why our managers were really excited about this activity. They wanted to make sure that they did a skill audit of a team to know what do we need to hire? What do we need to teach people in our team? How do we skill them up? How do we make sure that we retain them, that they feel challenged and that they feel they're learning every day in things that are important for the team now and for the team that's going to become in the future as we move on to different offerings and different products. So that's what we did here. And we identify areas that, yes, we had excellent coverage, but we also found areas that we didn't have that much coverage. One sticky means only one person knew how to do that job. So this generated a great opportunity to commit to action. So what we did is we grabbed all those different skills that nobody had, or I should say one person had in the team, and we added it into this learning opportunities bank. And then we did an activity where each person in the team would add their name, and another person who already knew the skill would add their name as a mentor, and we created these partnerships. So now you had people learning and teaching and tutoring and mentoring in those specific skills. So it's building the team, is building each person's profession, and it's also creating better relationships between the team members. So you can also notice that there were things that perhaps there wasn't enough time or interest in learning, kind of like these 3 stickies. And well, that created another opportunity. So we went ahead and worked with talent acquisition and created potential roles for those different skills. So that way, we didn't have to force people to learn within our team. We also were able to open more positions because there was a need for that. We needed to create redundancy. And we went ahead and as a team created this job post and included those skills that we didn't have time and resources to learn and implement, and we needed, and also opportunities for new people to come into the team, right? And that is what I will hope you guys will be able to do in your job and your potential jobs, so that you not only help your team or your manager in their job, but also yourself into developing wing skills, right? What better way to create a relationship with someone else in your team, to be your tutor and have hands-on learning experiences within your team. So that's what I would like to have you do at some point. And now I wanted to open it up for questions from the beginning of the presentation, if you had any, or of anything that we have done so far, or how to implement this or how to develop it. You can put them on Slack if you don't want to say it, if you're part of the Slack now, or on the Zoom chat, or feel free to come off mute.
It's not really a question, but I didn't realize how big the scope of UX is.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
Oh yes, it is. Are you in a scope now, or you're trying to figure it out?
No, I'm just surprised by like just how many how involved it is, like with different fields.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that is a little intimidating if you specialize, but at the same time, I feel like there is so much that you can do in different processes of a team, that being a generalist might not be, might not allow you to be very proficient at everything, right? But that's a whole conversation as well, like whether you prefer to be a generalist or specialize right away. Do you have a preference on that yet, or are you trying to figure it out?
I just want to know what my options are. I haven't fully grasped like the entirety of what there is in order to understand if I want to specialize in something or if I want to be more generalist.
Yeah. Do you mind if we take a look at your?
I mean, we can have a look. I'm pretty new to UX side. My skills are mostly come from my background in illustration, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't have that much hands-on with UX experience personally.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love that you have so much experience on this. And I know that, I mean, off the bat, like what I would think is that you would be interested in working in UX in perhaps video games. Right? That would be my first take. But if it's something that you don't want to do anymore, right? You don't want to do any more video editing, but you have knowledge. So you will be a great person to collaborate with. Like if you're talking to the animators or the people who do the video editing, you would understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And that happens a lot.
Very important.
Yeah, that happens a lot with people who transition from product management into UX. It's because they have learned the language of UX and they fell in love with specializing in doing those things, but they understand how to come up with ROIs for specific research projects. So they're really good at what they do because of the previous experience that they had and the way that they're able to communicate that in the language of a product manager. and you want to do more coding. Excellent.
Yes.
So you do want to be a mix of both. You want to
Yes,
do
yes.
UX and development.
Yes. I've started dipping my toes in like HTML and CSS, and that stuff has resonated a lot with me, a lot more than I anticipated. So as JavaScript seemed like the next step in that web development chain, and I don't know, I'm very interested in being able to code and design.
Mhm. Yeah, so I actually started that way. Like when I
Mhm.
was transitioning into the tech industry, I started learning CSS, JavaScript, and one thing that I noticed is that it was leading me toward more of the UI path,
Mhm.
right? Instead of a
Yeah.
UX designer, a UI designer. So perhaps it's something that you can investigate a little more. And you put UX, UI, I would definitely separate those two, because UI is definitely more on the visual side. You're not going to be conducting interviews. You're not going to be doing affinity diagramming with UI. You know, you're not going to be doing persona creation. That's part of UX. With UI, you're definitely going to be focusing on the actual assets,
Yeah.
right? Creating design systems, things like that.
Yeah.
Right? And working.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little too soon to decide for me. I think I like
Mhm.
both. I've seen a little bit of both, so I'm interested in both. So yeah.
Absolutely. And yes, we all start, you know, wanting to do it all, wanting to learn it all, because it's a beautiful career, to be honest.
It's cool.
Yeah, but you know, just my objective opinion of, you know, what it's looking like, what it might become, right? So I will definitely encourage you to keep working on it and see what else you're going to learn and what happens after you learn all this, right?
Mhm.
And I see Eric, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a decade of back of house kitchen experience, and I really don't understand how to parlay that skill set into something that would be required for like an application for a job, until maybe I would benefit from like looking into design ops. I only recently heard about it for like largish companies,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like tasked with assisting the UX team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it sounds interesting to me. That was like one of the things that I appreciated most about the boot camp, is if someone had a question, like they didn't know how to solve for a certain type of thing, I'd be like, I'm your man. Like I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't understand like where to access more information about what it is that someone in that field does, or what sort of skills to build.
Yeah, and the answer for you is to talk to people who do it. So you can do informational interviews with people in the field. The signups, I do have someone that you can talk to, that I can put you in touch with, and he will be definitely happy to tell you about his day-to-day, the things that he does, what he likes, what he doesn't like, why he transitioned to design ops, because he wasn't a design ops from the beginning. And that will be a way to start, right? It will make you ask yourself the right questions, because right now it's a lot of, what is this? What is that, right? So it's gonna help you start asking the hows, you know, and the whys of things. And so, yeah, that would be my first. So you will have one contact, but I will encourage you to do 2 to 3 people that are in the job that you're trying to look for, and the industry that you want to look into, because the signups might be different in enterprise, such IBM, than it is in an agency, if they even have the signups, or whether they're consultants. There are consultants out there that just do that when they need to solve some problem with their design department. So yeah, I'll put you in touch for sure. I have your email now, so
Thank you. Appreciate it.
absolutely. And in terms of, so you mentioned that you learned this problem spotting from working with customers. What is this category here?
I don't know that I did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like putting like some of the things I feel most confident in. It's hard for me to read on the Zoom, but
Oh, let me try.
yeah, I would probably put this all under like product management, sort of.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yes.
more
So
or
for
less,
this one,
except for
maybe.
low prototyping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, critical thinking could go in many ways. It could go into leadership. It could go into product management, right? It could go into even communication, right?
Mhm.
Because you need to be able to have those skills. Road mapping, definitely product management.
Right.
So I would go ahead and since you have it, like, did you add? Yeah. So perhaps I would say customer facing skills, right?
Gotcha.
Because, right, that could be a category that would say, well, I had to deal with a lot of people here, right? Customer service is also part of that. And then you can say, this is where UX comes into place, you know? Perhaps you start wide. You can cast your net wide first. Like, this is all UX, right?
Mhm.
Storytelling is UX as well, to present your case studies and whatever you're working on. Road mapping, then we can say is project management. Let's call it PM. Road mapping. That it could be business strategy as well, because you need to show or ROI. Critical thinking, let's put it in there. And it doesn't matter where you acquire this, as long as you're using it. And if you feel like, yeah, I have those skills, I want to use those skills, how do I learn more? Right? So that's where you start taking courses, you start doing maybe your own case studies. Are you part of a boot camp?
Am I still
Plan to
muted?
be?
No. Yeah, I'm a 2U alum. I went to Georgia Tech and graduated in September.
Oh, perfect. So you do have a lot more experience that you're saying here. You know, they taught you a lot of stuff. And you did some research, right? When you
Yeah,
were in
sure.
that. So you can include in UX user interviews or surveys. And yes, you were only working with whatever they gave you in the bootcamp, but you can still put them in here as work more on this, right? But yeah, let's start off. If you already have something that you're interested in, then start talking to people about that. And they can give you an idea of what skills you need to develop and that you can add to this T and develop it in the direction that you want it to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Now, for the last couple minutes that we have, I want you guys to give us some feedback because this is kind of the first 2 workshops that we have done. We always do panel interviews or presentations. And for last month and this month, we did workshops to kind of have people work on these things and have something to take with them. And we just want to get a little bit of, your comments on what did you like about it? What did you like? And what would you take with you after this event? And just take a couple minutes, or you could do it offline, because I know we're almost at time. So I'll just give you 2 minutes. And if there are any comments or any questions as you guys work on this, let me know and I can stay here. And are we able to get a copy of the mural for our team? Yes. I will give you a copy of your murals. And I think you can have access to this. So I'm not gonna remove you from this board. So you can come back anytime. All right, so I'm gonna move away so you guys can go ahead and add some comments there. And with that, any other questions, comments, concerns, ideas? to close off? Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much, you guys. You were a great team to work with today. I love your teas, and I really look forward to seeing them grow and seeing you again in other events next month, hopefully. We'll be working on Figma, and it will also be a hands-on exercise. Okay. So with that, thank you so much, you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and take care. Until next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.